Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Kayo and today we are opening up Nike's lowest carbon footprint shoe ever. Hey guys, my name is Kayo Kosho. Please follow me on Instagram. I am at Kayo Kosho. Also follow at Adjima Mag on Instagram and follow at Honeycomb Manila, which is this place here, our home in Double Dragon Plaza. Now, if you are enjoying our videos, please do leave a comment. It helps a lot. In fact, if you are into sustainability and recycling, please comment below that one thing that you do that you feel makes a difference. And then click on the subscribe, that helps us a lot. And without further ado, I give you this, the Nike Space Hippie 04. Alright, so this is a Nike Space Hippie 04, and what Nike did was they were actually on a journey to try and reduce their carbon emissions. In fact, Nike has a movement now called Move to Zero, which is their effort to try and have zero carbon emissions. Now, they brought in this team of engineers and they were a bunch of hackers is what they were. They had no previous experience in footwear design, but they knew how to make things sustainable and efficient. And the thing that they really were drawn to is this idea that they borrow from space travel called in situ utilization or in situ resource utilization. And that's the idea of when you're going to another planet like Mars or even the moon, you only have what you brought with you. The stuff that's with you inside the cabin, inside the spaceship, and the stuff that you find there. So how can you take that philosophy and apply it to footwear? Well, they've done it in a couple of ways, and the first way is in this new Flyknit upper. They use a material that they've invented called space yarn. Now, space yarn is made up out of about 25% post-consumer waste. And those are t-shirts that have been used by people and are on their way to landfill. They've just shredded them up and dumped them into this bucket, I guess. The other thing that they've dumped in that bucket are textile scraps. And that's when you make a t-shirt or you make a pair of shoes, you have to shave off little areas to get the shape that you want. And all those little scraps end up just going to landfill as well. And they found that this is one of the ways that they can be the most sustainable. If they can intercept garbage before it even goes to the landfill, then that's the most carbon neutral that you can be with that stuff. They're also intercepting a lot of plastic bottles that are on their way to the landfill. So they take those plastic bottles and 50% of this upper is made out of recycled plastic bottles that are being kept out of the oceans and out of the landfill. So it's 25% those t-shirts that are post-consumer, 25% the textile scraps that they get from the cuttings from other products, and 50% bottles make up this upper. And then they don't use any dye, they don't use any heat to make it. Instead, they just spin it together and this is what you end up with. That's the actual color of the yarn. So the outsole takes a lot of the torture when you're walking, and so it's not fully recycled. Instead, they've utilized a lot of recycled material as filler inside this outsole. So you have a very hard rubber that goes on the heel and on the toe, and that's filled with something called regrind, which is post-consumer, my understanding, post-consumer rubber and plastic from other footwear that gets shredded up and put into that section. Now the midsole is kind of the star of the show. This is what they call crater foam, but the truth is that the midsole is only about 15% regrind. So they take they're saying 12 to 15%, and they're introducing that into the foam to kind of help space out what's already in there. So the blue foam itself is not recycled because the midsole still needs to be wearable and usable, but that little bit does go a long way. Now this one, although it is supposedly the lowest carbon footprint for any Nike shoe, it is not the most recycled material by weight. In fact, this one is only 25%. recycled material by weight. And the Air Vapor Max 2020, which just came out, is 50% recycled by weight. But that one uses TPU and other plastics that use heat to generate that material, right? To make the air bubble. And this one, even though it uses maybe less recycled material by weight, it is more friendly to the environment, or has a lower carbon footprint because of the way that they have made it. And that's kind of the idea, I think, of the Space Hippie line, is that you want a showcase that shows off, okay, here's what we can do with crater foam, here's what we can do with this new Flyknit upper that's made out of all this recycled material. And the impact is that they can now take all of these materials that they're showcasing here and apply it into other products. We already are starting to see this material used in other products from Nike, from Jordan Brand, from Converse. They have a Chuck Taylor now that uses crater foam and, you know, that recycled knit on the upper, and it doesn't cost any more. It still costs the same $100 that your usual, you know, high-cut Chuck Taylor would cost. So all of those other products are now using a lot of the technology that is pioneered in the Space Hippie line. This is kind of the most interesting thing that Nike is doing. First is that, well, by having a shoe that utilizes waste, it makes the shoes from which the waste came from more sustainable as well. So this shoe enables your dunks or your t-shirts, your apparel, you know, the other footwear that you want to buy, more sustainable and more realistic to make. But the other thing, and I would say that this is the bigger idea, is that this is really just the showcase of what the Space Hippie movement inside of Nike and the Move to Zero movement is capable of. And that's really cool, because what you're seeing is Nike taking their platform and using it to encourage this kind of sustainability by making it cool, right? So a lot of people are asking the question, okay, if this is made out of trash, if it's made out of garbage, and you essentially didn't pay anything for the material in the shoe, why does it cost so much? And I think that's kind of where they've been really smart about it, is that they're not treating the trash like trash. They're treating the trash like it's something special, like it's something that you want to be involved in. And we see that happen, and that kind of be the most effective way to run these kinds of projects, right? When, you know, they use the word hippie, but it's very hipster to carry around a metal straw and carry around your own container, your own glass bottle, your own keep cup, to, you know, to have your own reusable water containers, so that you're living a lifestyle of sustainability and kind of making it cool that way. And this is something I think is very commendable about what Nike is doing, is that they're making it chic and cool and fashionable to be sustainable as best as they possibly can. Now, when I look at this rubber, it actually reminds me a lot of something that my wife does. She and my daughters have started a project called Chunkyard, and they sell accessories and stuff that they made, handmade. And one of the things that they hand make is recycled paper. In fact, I bought my wife a blender for our anniversary, and it's something I never would have bought for her, because in my head, that's kind of a misogynistic gift. But she asked for it, and it turns out what she wanted to do was make recycled paper. And I have some examples of that recycled paper for you to see, because it looks a lot like this Space Hippie stuff. And they actually do the same thing. They grind up paper and transform it into recycled paper. So they make paper out of old comic books and old magazines and paper bags, and they make a whole new product out of it. So here's a shot of the recycled paper, and you can see that it also has that speckling in it, that same texture and same feel of what the recycled material looks like. So it does carry a lot of that recycled visual appeal, is what I'm trying to say, along with carrying that space exploration vibe that, you know, the Mars Yard and the NASA collaborations, etc., you know, have been carrying over the years. Now, that actually brings me to one of my dislikes about this shoe, and it's that these speckles seem to actually be a little bit loose, and I'm worried that they might come off through usage. I feel like this stuff is gonna chip off and fall out eventually, and unfortunately that might get washed away by the rain and end up in our waterways, end up in our oceans as well. That might become an issue moving forward. So hopefully that's something that they can address. So I do like the box. It comes in this box, and supposedly it's supposed to ship in just this box. But on the inside, they've printed a lot of branding and storytelling for Space Hippie inside the box using a plant-based ink. But while my shoes were in there, the outsole rubbed a lot of the ink off onto the surface of the crater foam, and I didn't like that. I had to clean them as soon as I got them. So I find that to be a dislike, and maybe that's something that they can fix moving forward. But generally speaking, I do like this box. It is a cool idea to ship in just one box. In fact, like, there's no paper, there's no nothing in there. It's just the box. And maybe a thin line of recycled paper would have been nice. So that's something I didn't like, and maybe something Nike can fix. In terms of comfort, this new Flyknit is a bit stiffer than other Flyknits, but they're not uncomfortable. They're actually very comfortable despite that fact. Alright, so do you have any questions? Do you like this shoe? I like the vibes, I like the flywire, I like the aesthetic of this shoe. I like that it is the lowest carbon footprint shoe that Nike has ever made. I think it's a step in the right direction. But what do you think? I would like to know your thoughts, so please do leave a comment below about what you think of this. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. Please follow at Kayo on Instagram, follow at Adjima Mag, and this our home at Honeycomb Manila. It goes a long way when you click that subscribe button. The YouTube channel has been doing well, and we've been getting the watch minutes and the watch hours that we've been chasing. We'd like to thank you so much for that, and we appreciate your continued support. Alright, I wish you good health. I wish you good luck. Please wash your hands and wear a mask. It's a good idea. Alright, my name's Kayo. Peace.